Gentleman of Style Show.
Welcome to the next episode of the Gentleman of Style Show. I'm Baldwin.
And I'm Creech. And our guest today
is
kind of a friend of the show, right?
Is kind of a friend of the show.
She's kind of a friend of the show. Like
why do you think she's a friend of the show? What makes you?
She was our second guest when we started this. You know what I mean?
That's what I wanted you to say.
Yeah, our second guest when we started, and we've interacted. You know, if you've been checking out what we do, we actually went to her Read, Write, and Rhyme conference. Had a blast. It was amazing.
It was quite excellent.
Yeah, it was amazing. So let's get it out here. Go ahead.
All right. Oh, you do the introduction this time. Yeah, you do it this time. I did it last time.
So I'm gonna do it this time. So welcome to the Gentleman of Style Show, Dr. Crystal LaVoulle.
There you go.
Yes. Come on, man. Welcome back.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Yes.
Come on, have a seat.
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
Woo.
Dr. LaVoulle.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, it just rolls off your tongue.
Look, you said that the last time she was here.
I did.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Go back. Hey, it's on tape. It's on tape.
I had to slide that in.
Yeah.
Well, it does roll.
Yeah, it rolls off.
I usually jump the gun, and I just usually jump into whatever it is I'm thinking about at the time. Mm-hmm. And we don't get our initial information that we need to get. So I'm gonna let you go ahead.
I'm just saying, you know how we do. So what we do?
People that don't know.
Yeah, simply give everybody a little bit of background on Dr. LaVoulle. You know, kind of give us that, where you from, and give us a little summary of that younger you.
Okay. Well, my name is Dr. Crystal LaVoulle, and I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in Brooklyn and Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
And I am an Atlanta resident for 20-something years now. Mm-hmm. I think when I came before, I had just written my book, Read, Write, Rhyme Institute. Mm-hmm. And I'm an educator. I am a diehard educator. I have an interest and love for supporting teachers, but I like to do other things. So I travel, and I try to make all of my interests kind of marry. So I'm sure somehow in our conversation today, some of those interests will kind of come up.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, prior to us stepping on the set, mm-hmm. we were having a conversation, and we were talking about perception, right? Mm-hmm. And how sometimes the perception doesn't match the reality of what's going on, and we get denigrated for it.
Right.
Somehow.
Right.
Can you give us a little bit of that?
Sure.
Let's go back to the example that you were giving us with the
guy
teacher that you met with.
Okay, so I was at an event, and there was this principal, I want to say from South Georgia. From South Georgia. And he was giving some example, and he said that he got a lot of criticism from older, more experienced black male principals, and he couldn't understand why. And so different people in the audience were saying, well, was it this, was it that? And I said, I can pretty much guess it's probably because of the way he chose to present himself. And he had beautiful long locks, and I think he had 2 earrings in his ear, and he was dressed, with a little urban edge. And he said, this is how he dresses for work and how he looks for work. And I said, well, that's probably it. I would bet that the principals who, gave him a hard time didn't look like that. They had a very different, probably much more conservative look. And so I was saying that from my own experience, people think that because I'm also an administrator, educational administrator, that we would look a particular way. And I sometimes don't look that way. I definitely have a more ethnic appearance, and particularly with my jewelry. Like, I wear all of these bangles most of the time. Shout out to Summer Robinson's silver bangles. And, I tend to wear earrings that are large and very ethnic looking, usually handmade. And I love those things, particularly handmade jewelry, because I like to represent other Black creatives, so they're usually something that some other woman made. That I wear, and typically my purse is the same thing. A lot of my things, and I don't think anything of it, but it usually generates a lot of conversation with other people. Like, what is that? What are you wearing? You don't have the latest whatever designer bag. Nope, I have this handmade bag that this sister made, and I bought it in Piedmont Park. And that's what I like. Right. So I remember when I first wanted to be an administrator in DeKalb County. It was definitely my hair. My hair was a conversation.
Was it more like what you have now?
Not exactly. It was big. It was just a twist out, and at that time, you either had a straight look of some kind, or you had no hair, like a Caesar. That was acceptable, but having like a curly afro was not acceptable. And so I was told, hey, you might want to do something different. And then...
Who told you that?
Oh, lots of people. Name no names.
Administrator-wise?
Yeah. People who were already administrators. It was like, you're going to have to tone it down. I used to wear a lot of sandals with my toes out. I have rings on my toes, and they said, "Oh no, that's just
no, never that. No.
Dial that back. That's just too much." And I'm like, "Really? For the school? I'm not going to the White House. I'm going to the schoolhouse." But and it was all information and suggestions given to me, I feel like, out of love, but it was also out of their experience. So I know that people look at you, anybody, and they make certain assumptions, judgment calls on who you are.
Right.
How did you handle that though? Like you said, it was done in love, but were you able to embrace that and say, okay, I need to make the change, or no, this is my path, so I'm going to walk it and I'll go through it?
Funny you should ask. At first, I didn't embrace it. I said, no, I'm going to change. Yeah, I felt like it was just wrong. Like, oh, we've come a long way, baby. We don't have to do that anymore. And I would still show up with my twist out. And I never got promoted. Right. And
you believe that's why?
I don't know. I just know that I didn't get promoted. I went on several interviews and I didn't get promoted. And I had a conversation with a principal, and he brought it up, and he said, for me, will you just, come to an interview a little bit with a more conservative look? And I had locks, I want to say, at the time. I'm not sure, something. And so I went to the next interview with a little pixie wig, and I got the job.
That's telling.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I got the job because I wore the pixie wig. I'm just saying I wore a pixie wig. And I got the job. Literally the day before, I had interviewed for a different school with my natural hair. I didn't get that job the day before.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like, people just, things happen at different times. And I feel that at that time, people weren't ready, I feel. We just had the Crown Act. That wasn't even that long ago. Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking about 20-something years ago that I'm having this conversation with people. So I think it just was too soon for some people, but a lot has changed. You'll go into schools now and you'll see every kind of everything, and that's a good thing, that people are able to show up as their authentic self. And as long as they're doing the job of supporting teaching and learning in schools, they're able to look the way that they want to look. And I'm a fan of that. So, I feel like it was just early pioneers, but that was my story for sure. That was definitely my story.
You make a very good point with that, and and that's one of the reasons why I was like, really interested in what you were saying earlier, because of the perception thing. Because I was under the, if someone, like, for example, if someone spoke a certain way, if they spoke with heavy slang or something like that, that they were less intelligent than what, the norm would be. Or if they talked with, say, a high density country type of accent, that you might be less intelligent than what you would think someone of a higher intelligence would be, because you're told that you have to speak a certain way and be a certain way and all of that. But over time, as I got older in years and met different people and had different experiences, just because you sound or speak a certain way and may not use your words in a way that we perceive to be the more PC type of way, doesn't mean that you don't understand the world or things around you on a level or even a higher level. Until you get into a conversation and you're really talking to a person, and they start to really get down and you understand the philosophy of what they're saying, they're just as good, if not better, than you. Same thing as far as the perception that you're saying. I was like, I never thought that about the principal thing like you were saying, but yeah, you're right.
I think the principal thing it's even a corporate thing. When you go into when you're in a corporate office, there's a certain standard that you have to, adhere to. For me, if I'm in a corporate office, of course, I don't have my earrings in. I probably could buck the system, but it's their system, so I understand that. So if I'm running a meeting, my earrings shouldn't have anything to do with that. But again, it's their structure. That's how they want it.
Yeah,
and I'm not there to play forever anyway. I'm there at this point in time. I've got another structure that I'm looking to. And when you build your own structure, you do your own thing. So
I definitely think that's the case. And I know when we think about the hip hop community, you see lots of people who are movers and shakers, and they have built their own structure and they're doing their own thing, and they do not show up in that that way that has been accepted by corporate America. They're like, no, that's not what I'm doing. And so because you have enough going on to have your own structure, you can call those shots. And I think that's just, evolution, if you will.
I watched a great podcast the other day with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he had a guest on there, and they went through a deep study of music, right? And it turns out that music predates any type of written communication, anything like that. They did a really deep dive about how it is, even back to like how animals communicate and the sounds and all of that type of stuff. It's fascinating. I almost sent it to you.
Okay.
I almost sent it to you, but I was like, yeah, she probably don't want to look at that.
No, you should send it to me.
It's fascinating.
Okay.
Fascinating on that. They even had an example of now all the way down to the genetic level.
Okay.
How, I forgot, it was some type of bird, and the birds make certain sounds and they communicate in a certain way, but if you go across continents or whatever, or different species, you'll find that it's the same across all of them that's in that particular genome or whatever it is. So what they did was they introduced some type of different DNA and put that DNA into like a different bird species that has a different type of sound, and they found that the way that sound communication in that one species translated to the other species from a genetic level.
Wow.
It's genetically written. Yeah, it's fascinating. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. You're gonna love it.
Okay.
I was like, man, I'm gonna look at that again, and one of the reasons I found it so fascinating, because interacting with you and going to your events and stuff like that, and knowing that that's one of the foundations of some of the work that you've
Absolutely.
done. And I was like, she's right. She's on the right track. It makes sense. Oh, and then they spoke about how people that develop like Alzheimer's and they start losing their memory. But then you could play a song or music, they click right back in to what that is and be exactly perfect during that time. And then they talked about how we associate different times in our life if music was involved with it, and we can instantly go back to what that is when we hear a certain sound or message. It was powerful, and I'm gonna send it to you.
Please do. Please do.
But anyway, I digress.
That reminds me, when I was doing my research, I did some research on photo elicitation and sound elicitation. And basically, it's that same premise that when people hear certain sounds, and it's not only music, it can be raindrops, it could be the ocean, the birds, whatever. When they heard certain songs, for sure, it took them right back to that. For photo and sound elicitation, I interviewed a number of people, and I asked them to give me a timeline of their life with music. So the first song you could ever remember hearing, and what was the story behind it, what represented, which songs represented your elementary school years, your middle school years, so on and so on, to up until that point. And the stories that they said were really, really powerful. I remember one story, someone said a song, the first song they remember is the whole town's laughing at me. You know that? The whole town's laughing at me. I think it was Teddy Pendergrass. And he said that reminded him of his parents going through a divorce. And so every time he would hear that, it would make him sad and take him right back to that moment. And this is like 40 years ago, But I said, how powerful music is to do that, whether it's a happy moment or a sad moment. So that just made me really think about that. So that was just some powerful things, that music can connect people from all across the globe.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And it can control you,
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. From a basic instinct, primal level and everything. Because just like when we hear a thunderclap or something like that from a thunderstorm, it raises caution from our core and our bone, a loud noise. I mean, that sound, it does something to you where it puts you on edge.
Right, right.
These are sounds.
Yes.
So it's something. I'm going to send it to you. It's really good.
I want to see it.
Really
I want to see it.
So what was the first song that you remember?
That's a good question.
Because I was sitting here thinking to myself,
the first song. I don't even know the name of it, but it was something about get your big brown cow and get out of here. I know that was, those were the lyrics that I remember. My father was very much into music, and he played music all the time. You woke up to music. He had parties and all these other things. But whoever sang this song, it was some kind of song, and those were the lyrics. Get your big brown cow and get out of here. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah.
You have to Google that.
I can't remember, but those are the first music that I remember hearing, and hearing it over and over. But that is a good question, because I love to ask people questions, but then it's like, okay, can I answer that same question?
Exactly. Because I'm still thinking, I don't know what my first song would have been. I don't know. So I'm thinking back to probably something.
Was it even a song?
Probably something in church, or either something.
That's what I was just thinking. Maybe it was something in church.
Probably something in church.
Because like where we from, they really drilled, religion into you. We come from the Bible Belt, so it's like at least 4 or 5 churches in a mile radius. Yeah, so it was, it's big.
Did either of you sing in a choir?
I did.
I was in the Sunshine Band. I don't
know what that is. Explain to me what the Sunshine.
You ain't never had? I thought every church had a Sunshine Band.
No, my church didn't.
I didn't know that was a church thing. Enlighten us.
The Sunshine Band, from a Baptist perspective, that's when you had a band with young kids in it.
Oh.
Yeah, the Sunshine Band.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never heard
We were
that
just a
before.
youth choir.
The youth choir.
I was in the junior choir.
Youth choir. So they all interchangeable.
Choir.
Basically. Yeah. So
I had solos and everything. Yeah.
man, nobody want to hear you.
Yeah, buddy.
Nobody want to hear you, Otis. Go back over there. Can't come here. So what are you working on currently and everything?
The conference. In March of 2024, I had the first Read, Write, Rhyme conference. And Read, Write, Rhyme is also part of the name of my book, Read, Write, Rhyme Institute. And I wanted to have an opportunity to talk about what I talk about all the time, which is using hip hop to improve the educational situation in some form or another. And I was talking with a colleague, and he offered his school and to support in whatever way possible, and that was Neil Christian of BIA, and we worked together to put the conference on, and I think we probably put that conference on in maybe 6-7 weeks. Like it was immediate. And it was really good because we had a number of concurrent sessions. We had professors there, and I think you remember going to some of those sessions. But we had professors there, classroom teachers, and we also had panels. And that was the part that I was a little bit more excited about, because I have done conferences before, but I never really had panels like that before.
The panels, is that when we're in the big room?
Yes.
When
So we had one panel on that was just administrators, educational administrators. So talking about, and that was led by drawing a blank. Oh wow, that's so Nelson Render from Bibb County of PR experience actually, and it was administrators talking about how they got to their positions, you know, how they rose to the top and what that experience was like. And we had another panel led by Dr. Vonza Phillips that was the international panel. So it was all of these individuals who have been international educators in many different countries and sharing what that's like to live abroad. You know, I lived abroad for a couple of years, so I met all of these people in my travels. And then we had the Women Who Wow, which was Nikisa Smith of Nikisa's Radiance, Natural Radiance. And that was women who are just phenomenal in in their individual rights, you know. Some of them were educators, some of them were entrepreneurs. And just having an opportunity to hear people, you know, I wanted something that was not the traditional teacher conversation. So the panels were that thing for me to really connect more a little bit with things that were of a broader interest. So how did you like the conference?
I thought it was, you know, well laid out. The only problem I had with, and this probably is just me, and I just didn't understand how to navigate it, like the panels. I would like to have sat in on every panel.
Oh.
But I'm trying to get to the workshops that I want to see too.
Okay, you had to make a choice.
Yeah, so I'm greedy. So I'm trying to figure out, well, dang, go to this one, go to that one.
Right. I'll have to keep that in mind.
So like, how do you work it out where I can take full advantage and get like, you know, at least 98% of what I want, you know, out of it? Because I would want to sit in on every panel, you know, even if it's just something that I don't even know about. You know, I'm just want to open myself up to see what's going on. Same thing for the workshops. You know, I want to see what's going on.
Right.
Because we were like going back and forth. Okay, you choose this time, I'll choose this time as far as the workshops, and then we was kind of bouncing back and forth like that.
I think I have to extend it, because it was only one day last time, and we put so much into that day that yes, we've kind of forced people, you have to make a decision. But if we extend it, which we've had that request, to at least a day and a half or 2 days, then you don't, we can have sessions repeated and you won't have to miss as much.
Right. Because I don't know, were the sessions, was it like one session per? No, they had like back-to-back sessions for the workshops, right?
Yep.
But at different time intervals, if you could make. See, that's why I don't know. I was trying to figure out how to navigate.
The sessions and the panels were all going on at the same time, so you had to make a decision. Either you were going to a panel or you were going to one of 4 sessions, because there were always 4 sessions at any given moment. So, and another reason why we did it that way is because we wanted to keep the numbers down. We didn't want 50 people in one session.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Which actually kind of makes sense now that you say that. And at the same time, it adds a level of stress / excitement into it. Okay, I gotta figure out where am I gonna go? You know? So maybe you don't change. Maybe you keep it the same.
Yeah.
I like the 2-day thing. Like, I do, we do conferences with digital IT type stuff. And what we do is a full day conference, kind of like what you guys did with the, break, meal, whatever. And you just have to choose. So you know what's coming. So they'll send out the itinerary. You have to figure out, where you want to go. And so you lay it out. I do think the 2-day works better because, as you said, if you don't get to something day 1, you can get to it day 2, and and you may have a different crowd for day 2. So people that can't make it on day 1, they come to day 2 and they still can, get everything they need. But overall, as you guys are teachers and educators, I give you an A.
Thank you.
I give you an A+. But